Hello, my name is Annie Rubino, a proud member of Activate Phoenixville Area, a community wellness coalition committed to fostering healthier lifestyles in our community. As an advocate for a healthy community, Activate connects community members with health and wellness opportunities, events, programs, and is a clearinghouse for the information and resources that exist within the Phoenixville area. Its programs have touched the lives of countless members of our community. Girls on the Run, Girls on Track, and Stride are running programs aimed at grades 3 through 5 to instill a sense of self-respect and healthy living with an end goal of a 5K in mind. The Phantom Fitness Club is a low-cost program for children at Barclay Elementary in grades 4 and 5 that teaches students about exercise and nutrition through fun and interactive games and lessons. Many other initiatives have instilled a sense of health and wellness to our students, families, and beyond in the Phoenixville community. Through our commitment to create a more healthy community, we would like to recognize individuals who have shined in the areas of health and wellness through our new TV segment, Community Wellness Champions. Community Wellness Champions shines the spotlight on motivated individuals who have the courage to change their lives and improve their health and wellness through mind, body, and spirit. Our first champion is Rachel Tenney. Since 2009, Rachel has been on a mission to live a healthier life and encourage others to do the same. After losing 120 pounds, Rachel left a 10-year sales career to return to school and pursue a career in nutrition, dietetics, and public health. She has also been involved in numerous organizations and activities to promote healthy living in our community and at Westchester University. Rachel's courageous efforts have forever changed her life and set an example for others ready to make their own change. Today I would like to welcome Rachel Tenney, our first Community Wellness Champion, to share her inspiring story. I would also like to welcome Shannon Mannon, coordinator of Activate Phoenixville Area and host of our show today. If you would like to nominate a champion, please contact Shannon via email at info@activatephoenixvillearea.org.
Welcome to Activate Phoenixville Area Presents Community Wellness Champions. Our first guest is Rachel Tenney. Rachel, welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And we're so excited about the changes you've made in your life. We just wanted to start off by talking about what were the motivating factors that inspired you to make such bold changes in your life.
A couple of things. First of all, my family, we have a history of, you name it, we have a history of it. We have diabetes, heart attack, cancer, obesity is a big issue. There's a few family members and friends that have had gastric bypass surgery with numerous complications, and I was approaching the age of 30 and didn't want to go that route, so that's one of the reasons I started my journey. The other is I actually went to go see the movie Julia and Julia, and she gave me the idea of blogging because the character does a blog in that movie, and I came home that night and I said, I'm going to start a blog. I'm going to go lose the weight, join a program, and track my journey along the way. So.
And what about the blog did you think was going to help you stay motivated?
It absolutely helped me stay motivated. I really put it all out there. I weighed myself, I measured myself, I put it all on the blog, and all of my measurements, everything. I put my whole self out there, and I posted every time I wrote a blog. I would put it on Facebook as well, so my friends and family could see it there, which was very overwhelming and a little intimidating, but it kept me accountable because I was, I had friends cheering me on, and I didn't want to let them down either. So
sure, that kind of vulnerability is really courageous, especially in the beginning before you've had any success.
Yeah, but it was. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's a great idea. In terms, you made a huge change with your weight loss and your outside, but that also spiraled into you making changes in your whole career and your whole kind of outlook on life. Could you talk a little bit about that?
So, when I went back to when I lost quite a bit of the weight, about 100 pounds, I think at that point. It was right around the time it was my 30th birthday, right around there, and I was at that point where I was like, okay, what do I want to do with my life? And about 2 weeks after my birthday, I was driving in the car one day and I just thought, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to change lives. I was in sales for 10 years, and I have great parents that have done things in their careers that have really made a difference. And like my dad does volunteer work, my mom's a teacher, and I wanted to do that with my life. I had won all sorts of awards with sales, but I knew I still wasn't making a difference at the end of the day. So, like I said, about 2 weeks after my birthday, I said, I'm going back to school. I'm going to become a dietitian. And not only change my life and keep myself motivated, but also change other lives as well. And so I started volunteering at the YMCA. They put me in touch with Activate Phoenixville, and I did some volunteer work there. I did stuff with the Student Dietetics Association down at campus. I work with the Westchester University dietitian. So all these doors have opened, and it's been an amazing process. But my life is 180 degrees from what it was, 3-4 years ago. So.
And just taking that first step to quit your job and go back to school, a career change at 30 is a really...
Yeah, I was really blessed, and not everyone has it. I have a very supportive partner at home, so I was very blessed, and we were able to do that. It's not always easy to do that, but I do think you can, if you have a dream, you can do anything. You can make it happen. You just have to plan differently for whatever your situation is.
And how each time you took a step, a door opened every single sequentially. That is really exciting. What tools did you use to help keep you motivated during your journey?
It is kind of hard. I know, especially when you have a lot of weight to lose, it is sometimes hard to keep yourself motivated. And so what I would do along the way, the blog that we talked about, going back and referring to the blog to remind myself of where I came from. Sure. Tracking measurements every week. It gave me a mission. It gave me goals. I set goals all the time. And I did hold on to a couple of things. I didn't just get rid of everything. Cleaning out my closet was exciting, but I did bring my pants to show you.
Oh, great. Let's take a look at that.
Not sure whether to be proud or embarrassed, but I'm more proud, I think.
I'm proud.
So these are my pants that I wore the day I started the weight loss. And
look at that.
So I think they were about a 20 or size 20 or 22. And I'm about a size 8 now. So that's a huge difference. So I keep these. So anytime I get depressed, or I want to start eating, I'll go up and take a look at this. The other thing that was very exciting for me is, growing up, I was an overweight kid. I was an overweight teenager. I rarely ever finished a mile run when I was I don't think I ever did actually in elementary school. And so part of my goal was, I set goals along the way, and one of them was to complete a 5K.
Sure.
The first step was doing the mile, and I can remember screaming in the basement on the treadmill when I hit my first mile. I think I was crying as I was finishing it, but. I think it was in 2010, my sister and I signed up for a 5K run. And so we put together a little frame which has my number and my sister, that's me, my sister and I after we were done. And I think out of everything, this was the most emotional experience I've had in my journey. But it was pretty amazing. My dad was there to take pictures. He does photography, so he was there to take pictures at the end. But things like that, I think, reminding yourself of where you came from, reminding yourself of the successes you've had along the way, they really help to keep you motivated on track.
Sure.
So, and this hangs in my house, so I can't go back.
Yeah, you've got that as it keeps you honest.
Yeah.
And you've talked about your family being such a great supporter to you, but also having health issues themselves. Was it making this kind of bold change, I would imagine, might have caused a break from the family culture of eating, and that's such a social thing. Were you frightened, or was it fearful, kind of making this courageous, kind of putting it out there so publicly?
This time, not as much. I've lost weight a number of times. I've lost 40 pounds, gained it, back and forth, like many people experience. But, and it is kind of scary sometimes because you fear that you're going to lose friends, or you fear that every time you pick up something and put it in your mouth, people are going to be watching. I think the good thing for me was that my family lives in Maryland, so I had that separation that you may not have always, living with your family. And so I was able to separate myself from the regular things that I was brought up with, which made it a little bit easier for me. So that part was not as fearful this time. I think when I lived with them and I was trying to lose weight, it made it a little bit harder. Just being around the family and friends that you're always around, you're changing, but they're not.
Yeah.
I think, the other thing is separating yourself from friends that are enablers. I mean, that's really scary, And the biggest fear, I think, for me was not necessarily a fear of failure, but the fear of success.
Yeah.
Once I achieve this goal, what happens then? Where am I going to go from there? Am I going to be able to keep it off? That's a big fear too. So, but I knew from day one I was going to get it. I knew I was going to accomplish the goal. It was just once I was there what was going to happen.
So. And were you thinking of those fears as you went, or was it just one day at a time working through?
I was a 1 week at a time
Yeah.
person at that point. That's what kind of kept me grounded and focused and not so fearful. I wrote down a goal every week. So on my blog even, it was, I said, okay, this week I want to get under this number, or this week I want to get into these pants, or this week I want to run a 5K, so I kept goals throughout the entire process. So it distracted me, and honestly, I got to the goal weight sooner than I thought I would.
Sure.
And once I was there, I was like, okay, well,
What now?
yeah. But I was already back in school, which definitely kept me motivated to stay in that track.
Sure.
So.
What was really surprising to you? You knew you were going to change your body. You ended up changing your career too. What other kind of surprises came along the way?
I think honestly it's the friends I made along the journey. I think when you start changing your life and you start learning to love yourself, you open yourself up to other people, you become more confident, and you wind up attracting people that you may not have before, whether it was, making friends with some of the people at the YMCA, or, pulling people in that were on a journey of their own and wanted to lose weight. I mean, my aunt she lost 50 pounds after I joined. My dad, or after I started losing weight, my dad I think he lost 60 or 70 pounds, and he became a gym rat, so, those were some of the pleasant surprises along the way. And it really just became easier as I went along, which was a surprise too, because I thought it was going to be hard the whole way through. And I still have my days, but it's definitely so much easier than it ever was. So.
Sure, great. What do you have advice? It sounds like you helped sort of inspire your family and some friends around you to also do things. What advice do you have for people, both from a weight loss perspective and also from people, really transforming their lives like you have? What would you tell them?
I think from a weight loss perspective, when you start, I think it's very important to be aware. Awareness is my big word now. Be aware of what you're eating. Be aware of portion sizes. Be aware of what you're eating on. Is it a small plate? Is it a big plate? Be aware of how you're preparing your meals, and really being aware and honest with yourself. If you're tracking what you're eating, then if you go back for the third cookie, write it down. Because when you lie to yourself, that's the only person you're lying to or being dishonest with. It's not going to affect the person down the street who doesn't know you didn't have that third cookie. So, and that's more in the beginning. I think as you lose the weight, that kind of gets easier, and you start changing how you're eating anyway. So it's you're not as, I don't want to use the word obsessed, but you're not as focused on that. I think the other thing is really dealing with the emotional stuff. Through blogging, I was able to deal with frustration, anger, depression, fears, and I put it out there on the blog, and that was very vulnerable. It's a vulnerable thing to do, but it really helped me kind of cleanse in a way. So I think there needs to be some type of outlet, whether it's seeing a therapist, which I had done years before, whether it's seeing a therapist or writing or journaling or writing poetry or singing or whatever way a certain person can get that emotion out. It helps you focus on the goal at hand or your health.
Right.
I think for any journey, a similar thing, I think setting goals is number one, and not just a big goal. You have to, I didn't go in saying I'm going to lose, 120 pounds. I think at the time I was even thinking about just 100 or 80.
Just 100.
Just 100. Just 100. Like, it's a small number.
No big deal.
But I think if you also do weekly goals, like, SMART goals, I don't know how many people have heard that term before, but, make them measurable, make them reasonable and attainable or achievable. So I think those are some of my keys. And really, once I started doing things that made me feel good or made me feel happy and really going more with my heart, yes, I used my brain, but I used my heart more than I had before.
Yeah.
That's when the door started opening. So I think in any type of goal and change, I think that works. So.
Well, and I think that's really a key part of change is feeling that in your heart and feeling like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this is what feels right and true to me or to Rachel.
Yeah.
So what, it sounds like there's two sides of that. There's dealing with the emotional side in terms of, you were saying you dealt with it on your blog very publicly, depression, fears, anger, and then...
And celebration.
And celebration.
And I can't tell you how many times I'd be writing and like bawling at the same time, but it was very cleansing. It was therapeutic, and I think what was exciting for me, I had people from, following my blog from Europe that saw this, and I had a woman from Canada write me and say she just went back to start losing weight because she had read my blog. So
Wow.
those are the, when you write something and you put yourself out there and then you get a response like that, I don't care if I have to put myself out there. It's obviously making the difference that I wanted to make when I started. So.
Both for you and for
Yeah, exactly.
the ripple.
It
And
keeps
who
me
knows?
motivated. Everybody always thanks me for motivating them.
Yeah.
They motivate me more than anything. I
Really?
think. Yeah.
You
they
found
do.
that
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what's it felt like for you, kind of making those changes and feeling like you were just heading in the right path? Like what did that feel like to you? Like how did you know that you were kind of heading in the right direction, or?
Well, aside from just the objective ways to do it, measuring and scales and everything, I think I could tell my confidence was building. I knew I felt that I was going to get there, and it was just I just knew. I knew from day one I was going to get there, and I think that's what made the difference from the first time I lost weight to this time. So.
Did you have other support systems? You talked a lot about the blog and your family. Any other kind of sort of proud moments or other support that sort of helped you through this?
Aside from the blog, the blog was a huge support. Facebook friends, that world, that was huge. My family was an enormous support for me. And even though there were times I would go home and I'd visit and I wanted to change the world and I wanted to change how everyone was eating and I was going to make everything wonderful back at home, they were really supportive because, when you change, you want to change the world, and not everyone's always ready for that.
Sure.
So I slowly adjusted from that, but they put up with so much. Because I wanted to go home and take carrot cake out of my dad's hand and, do all these little things.
Yeah.
And, I feel for them now, but I think that was huge. They were still very supportive. I have a very supportive partner at home that has not only financially supported me to go back to school and really been a great provider for us, but just has made anything I need happen in order for me to be successful weight-wise, So it's, weight loss-wise. So
Sure.
it's just, and then, I made some great friends over at the YMCA. That's been huge. I know we've worked together at Activate, which has been a huge support system for me. And even the teachers at school, they're all, I don't know, I always feel like everyone's on my side. It's just, it's everyone, I put people in my lives that lift me up versus, take me down now. So.
Sure, and want to see you succeed.
Right, absolutely.
Well, it inspires me every time to hear different aspects of your story, Rachel. So thank you so much for sharing the story with me again and with our audience. We're just going to take a quick break here, and we're going to come back in a moment for Rachel to share a little bit more of her practical steps and recipes with us. So hold tight and join us in a moment. Thank you. Welcome back. Rachel's here now to show us some tips and tools and some healthy eating to give our viewers an idea of what they can do at home.
So I brought two recipes. The first, we're going to do a spaghetti squash. I like to point out some things sometimes that people may not be aware of. Vegetables. One of the things I did while I was losing weight is I would go into the grocery store and I'd find something that I'd never used to cook with before. I didn't cook at all when I first started this journey, I guess you could say. And so I made it. I knew that by cooking would help me lose weight. So I would go into the grocery store. I'd find something I'd never eaten, and I actually had never made spaghetti squash. And I think my mom made it when I was younger, but haven't really had it since then. So this is real simple. We're not going to actually cook it here, but I'll give you. It's really easy how you do it. You just take a big knife, you cut it right down the middle of the spaghetti squash. You'll get the two halves. And then what you do is just take a little olive oil. This one is an extra virgin olive oil. This has a little lemon flavoring. I like to use some of the flavored olive oils. If you have regular at home, you can just use regular and then add seasonings after it's cooked. But what you do is once you have the two halves of the spaghetti squash, you just rub a little olive oil on each half, sprinkle with a little salt and pepper. Just take a pan, line it with foil, and then just take the halves and put them the open side down, face down.
Okay.
You roast for at about 350 for about, could be anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes. You just want to take a fork every now and then or a knife and stick it in there. As soon as it becomes really nice and soft and easy to pull out, you take it out, let it cool for a few minutes. And then it's really neat because you take a fork, just string it through the spaghetti squash, and it comes out like strands of spaghetti. It's actually a very quick and easy thing to
Sure.
do. You know, a lot of people are always looking for carb substitutions or pasta substitutions. This is great with kids. It's a great way to sneak in those veggies.
Sure.
Because you can do half, like a whole grain pasta or a half pasta if they won't eat the whole grains yet, and do half spaghetti squash, eventually kind of going to just all spaghetti squash.
Sure.
Once it comes out and you have it all in a bowl, you can add lemon juice, you can add basil, you can add whatever seasonings to your palate.
Sure.
I've done a number of different things with it, so you have that there. So that's a really quick, easy thing. You can, when you come home, preheat the oven, get it started, and
Have that
then by
ready
the
to go.
time you're ready to sit down, it's ready to go.
And is that what is the best season to get your squash?
Squashes are going to be popular in the fall season, and you can get them anytime, but fall season's really good for squashes. So, you know, in the summertime, we're all spoiled with those beautiful vegetables and fruits, all the color, and it's harder to get that in the fall.
So save it
I-
for when we need it. Something fresh
I do
in
it
the
all the
fall,
time,
and
but yeah, I
that's
mean,
a good
I'm big
idea.
on, I love acorn squash, I love butternut squash. Any of the squashes, fall and I get along very well. So,
I might be able to sneak that into my
Yeah.
kids' palate without them
right.
noticing.
It's an easy one because it doesn't have a lot of color.
Sure.
As soon as kids see color, they kind of step away.
Right.
Parsnips are also a really good vegetable to play around with because they're clear and they're easy to, you know, like a zucchini bread, you can do the same thing with parsnips.
Okay,
Or
that's a good
parsnip
idea.
chips. Those are good ways
Yeah.
too. So,
Great tip.
but this is a great thing I always had on hand just to use as a calorie cutting option for me. Plus, you get nutrients in this, which you necessarily won't get in your pastas and everything. The second one is, this is kind of a fun on the go pre-workout, post-workout, good for the kids, good for when you have absolutely no time to grab breakfast in the morning. This is just a typical hot dog bun. It's a whole grain, so I always use a whole wheat breads when I am doing bread. And then again, natural peanut butter is my favorite food ever because I use
How
it
does
for
this
so much
differ
stuff.
from regular peanut butter?
This one's actually no salt added. You know, this regular peanut butter, like your brand names that the kids are so used to, have added sugars, have added, if you ever look on the label, it never just says peanuts. You want to look for something that literally says peanuts. The no salt added, what's great about that is it gives you more control over salt and sodium, so you can add sodium with your own salt shaker and have more control over it. You know, the average person is really limited on salt. We think there's so many things that have salt, breads, those soft pretzels, Philly soft pretzels that everyone's
Right,
love. They're full of
right.
salt, so try to limit it where you can, and just, you'd rather eliminate and then add back in versus try to take out, because you can't really
pretty
take it out of here.
impossible.
So what we're going to do is you take just a little bit of peanut butter. Now the serving size in the back of a peanut butter jar says 2 tablespoons. I tend to go more with 1. You don't want to overdo it because it is still higher in calorie and fats and everything, but they are good fats. Another good brand to do this with is Smart Balance. They have a lot of great monounsaturated fats, which are really good. So you literally just smear the peanut butter right on the bun.
Looks delicious and very spreadable.
I love the smell of peanut
I
butter.
know. Perks you right up.
And what's great is with what we're going to do is we're going to do a peanut butter banana sandwich. I grew up on these, love them. What's great about using a banana that's a little riper is that it'll give you the sweetness that you would have from a more sugary peanut butter.
Oh, great
So that's the same thing with oatmeal. If you make oatmeal, oatmeal's my staple in the morning. Use a banana that's riper, then you don't have to add extra sweetener. And I brought some of the oatmeal just to show
Excellent.
you the type, just the plain original, nothing fancy, nothing added. And you literally just put it together like a hot dog.
Oh, you don't even cut it up. Look at
No,
you. That's
you make
fancy.
it like a hot dog. You want to?
Oh, I'm going to be the food taste
You
tester.
are, absolutely.
Oh, yum. That is delicious. The sweetness and the protein
Yeah,
mix.
and it really is a reasonable calorie snack. Again, great for a workout because you have potassium, you have the peanut butter, which is the nuts, the protein, good fats, and then you have the whole grain. So it's kind of a little bit of everything there.
Yeah, that's tasty.
So
Great tip.
So, and then we have some, thank
Thanks,
you.
Rachel.
I hope you enjoyed that.
I
And then
did.
we have a couple of tools that really helped me along the way, and I think they're great to have on hand. And really for me, I mentioned before being aware of things, you know, portion sizes and everything. So you have these 2 plates here, and you know, when we have dinner, we all go towards, I'm gonna put my little sandwich right back here. You know, when we go to dinner, everybody always goes towards the big plate.
Sure.
And this is actually an average sized dinner plate. I mean, there are some that are
enormous, like wine glasses.
Right, exactly. So unless your plate, you know, we have the My Plate where you have half of your plate should be vegetables, or fruit. A quarter should be your protein, and then a quarter should be grains. You know, unless your whole plate or half of your plate does have vegetables on it, and you're really doing a smaller thing.
Yeah.
This is my breakfast plate. This is my lunch
Oh,
plate.
that's a handy trick, Rachel.
And
I love
sometimes it's
that.
my dinner, thank you. And dinner, though, I will sometimes get the bigger plate, only because I want to get all my vegetables on there, too.
Sure.
And, you know, just keeping it in the inner ring, you know, making sure if you have a plate with a circle on it, it kind of helps you portion size a little better. I also,
Excellent.
this is the bowl for everything. This is the bowl for cereal.
Uh-huh.
I do use a little bit bigger bowl with this, with oatmeal, because I'll add a banana in and really bulk it up, but I just use 1 pack of that. You know, we love ice cream. Ice cream is probably my weakness food. But you want to use a smaller bowl, because the smaller your bowl, the more you'll feel like you're getting, because it will overflow and you still know you'll be getting a smaller amount.
Sure.
A couple of the other things that I will not live without anymore at this point, my measuring cups, these are right near where I cook, so I have no excuse not to use them. My scales.
And how does having a measuring cup help you?
Just really,
Keep things
again,
in
keeps
check.
me accountable, keeps me aware of how much I'm eating.
Okay.
You
So
know,
you measure everything before you
I
put it on
really
your
do.
plate? Wow.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised, because cereal, for instance, I was famous for pouring a bowl of cereal, and then I would have the milk, and then the milk would still be there, and I'm like, oh, I need more cereal to use this milk up.
Sure.
You know,
You can't
the
waste good milk.
Psychological tricks, right? But in reality, you wind up having 3 or 4 cups of cereal, and that's 3 or 4 servings. So this allows you to measure your cereal, keep it in the portion. Again, if you use a smaller bowl, it'll make you mentally, it'll make you feel like you're getting more. But you can bulk your cereals up with bananas, with fruits, with berries. Add things to it that are really good and give you other nutrients than just the cereal.
Sure.
The scale, again, I keep that right near where I cook. The scale, especially for any of your proteins. I also do that with snack products too. If you ever look at the label of a snack, it might say that the serving is 30 chips or 20 chips or crackers. And 1 serving is 1 ounce. So sometimes if you actually weigh it, it'll be a lot less than 20 or 30 chips. You might actually get 15 for a serving. So it's labeling, you know, so you want to be aware of that. Don't always trust labels, and it makes you really have what a serving is. Water, make sure you're getting your water in. I can't tell you, I don't drink soda anymore. You know, I know some people still do, but really get your water in. It really helps with so many things, keeping hydrated, working out and everything. And then,
What's
do
this?
you use pumpkin?
I made a pumpkin chocolate chip bread once, but other than
That sounds
at
really good.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Pumpkin is my go-to for any baked goods.
Yeah, substitution.
Yeah, pumpkin's a great substitution. Same black beans you can use, applesauce. There's a lot of different foods you can use for substitution. So look them up. They are all of it. If you go online, you can find all sorts of healthy substitutions. But pumpkin I'll make a pumpkin, instead of putting the eggs in a cake mix or something, I'll just add pumpkin in, and it.
For that moisture.
Yeah,
So
it gives you the moisture, and it gives you a lot less fat and cholesterol.
Oil, it could be substitute for eggs and oil.
Yeah, well, in like a cake box, if you're
Sure.
making something really quick for your kids or something, to take to a party, you throw the mix in, can of pumpkin, throw it in the oven,
Excellent.
and that's it.
I love that. That's
and then
great.
the biggest trick I have is take your lunch. You know, if you're going out and you're not sure where you're going to be eating or what's going to be available, come prepared. Bring little Tupperware containers with your lunch in it, with your healthy snacks. Have that on hand, even if it's just healthy snacks. That way you're not trying to run through McDonald's or run through a fast food restaurant to grab something. I'm famous for carrying a lunch bag around everywhere. School, the kids make fun of me, but I have my little lunch bag on me.
You're never caught unprepared in Rachel's world.
So these are some of the tools that. Yep.
Great. Well, great, Rachel. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We learned a lot.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you being here with us. I just want to, in closing, thank all of Activate Phoenixville Area's steering committee partners. Without their support, this all would not be possible. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. And we hope you join us for our next episode of Community Wellness Champions. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
It was great having you here.